Legendary actor Paul Newman once said, "If there truly is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR." For the first time in its half-century history, this truly glorious ribbon of racing real estate hosts the most prestigious event in amateur motorsports, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs.
The SCCA National Championship Runoffs is the culmination of a season of work. It comes down a whole year of preparation to 15 laps or 40 minutes. That's what will settle a national championship in the P2 class here in just a matter of moments. Good morning, I'm Ryan Marine, Larry McLeod alongside as we get ready to crown a champion in P2 here at beautiful VIR, Virginia International Raceway. Let's get down to pit lane. Tom O'Gorman is roaming the pits for us. What do you have for us, Tom?
Morning, guys. The story here in the grid is parity and variety. We have top 5 cars really close in qualifying. These cars, first of all, incredibly fast, but uniquely, Bob Iverson is in a 1,500-pound Goodyear shod car-engined car. The second place car, Trey Ayers, that is another car engine, Mazda power this time on Pirelli tires. It is 200 pounds lighter. And then third, fourth, and fifth are all the store chassis Suzuki bike motor cars, 200 more pounds lighter on Avons for Tim Day Jr., the next 3 cars on Hoosiers. So big variety for all about the same speed. This race is going to be fascinating.
Yes, it will, Tom. Thank you very much. And Larry, I think you hit on some interesting points there. We do have a great deal of diversity in chassis and engines within this grid, but the end result has been a great deal of parity, especially in the top 5, which all qualified within 1 second of one another.
Yeah, really tight qualifying between Iverson, Ayers, Days, Guillen, and Pansea. Those 5, they swapped positions on the third day of qualifying with about 5 minutes to go in the session. Still wasn't decided as they all jumbled around one more time. This really could be anybody's race, but interesting, as Tomo points out there, you've got the Honda and the Mazda on the front row, the 2 quote-unquote car engines, and then you got the Suzuki bike motors, but they're much lighter cars, which means coming up the S's, they're going to have an advantage, or maybe in Sector 1 they'll have an advantage, but they hit that back straight, the legs on the Mazda and on that Honda might have the pull going up to the top of the hill.
Well, that will be an interesting dynamic to watch throughout the course of this race. It is 14 P2 cars about to do battle on track, and they will be led to the green by this one, Robert Iverson from Gulf Breeze, Florida. He is your Tire Rack Pole Award winner. That is a Ligier JS49 Honda-powered machine. 10 Crow Barbecue. Sounds delicious. That is the sponsor for that machine. It'll be fascinating to see what he can do. We talked about the parity within the top 5. It is worth noting he was, if there was a driver head and shoulders above the rest, he had 4/10 in hand. So goes into this race as the favorite, at least on single lap pace.
But the least experience is only his second start. He started in this class at Indy a couple of years ago, finished 15th. But behind him, you've got all the other guys who've got championships. And there you've got flexibility and rule set Gumby himself as he's out here for the starts of the P races. Great to see Gumby back on grid.
Well, to your point about the experience versus inexperience effect, and that definitely is exemplified by this front row. We talked about Robert Iverson. Just the one previous start that came at Indianapolis, and that came in, he had multiple different classes. He was a champion at Indianapolis, I should say. Well, no, I'm reading the wrong thing there. I apologize for that. Nevertheless, let's talk about the guy starting alongside, and that is Trey Ayers. He is a champion from Indianapolis in Spec Racer Ford. 8 previous starts, has that championship pedigree, and he's going to be using that to his advantage.
A lot of experience there. He's been on the podium a couple of times. As you mentioned, he won at Indy. He was second at Daytona, another track with a lot of long straights. And with Spec Racer 4 Gen 3s, there are a lot of drafting. He can find his spots. Very well experienced. But down that second row, you got some more experienced drivers there as well.
Yes, Tim Day Jr., Greg Guillen as well. They will be starting in the second row. Let's go ahead and introduce you to the starting lineup. As mentioned, Robert Iverson is your Tire Rack Pole Award winner in that Ligier chassis. Trey Ayers alongside from Gainesville, Georgia, in the Ayers Racing Mazda-sponsored Van Diemen. Tim Day Jr. in the third starting position. GDRE, Tally Eric, Summit Racing, and Avon, the sponsors on his store. WF1 Suzuki. It's an identical chassis and engine next to him from Greg Guillen from Western Springs, Illinois, in the Argus Magnetic Skycore International car. The number 98 of Lucien Pansea from San Antonio, Texas will start in 5th. Luck Motors and Young Racing store F1 Suzuki. Starting 6th, Brian Yates from Clemens, North Carolina, the Yates Group at Morgan Stanley. West WX10 Kawasaki, number 144. Mike Rupert will start 7th from Hubertus, Wisconsin in the Sunshine Metals store Suzuki. Naris Nillable from Bethesda, Maryland, not too far away. In the number 49 store, Suzuki will start 8th. 9th belongs to Peter Shadowin, already won a national championship here this weekend at VIR in another class. He's driving a West WX10 Suzuki. And in the 10th starting spot, Thomas Kaufman from Sheraton, Virginia, the Fab Man store WF1 Suzuki. Starting 11th, Michael Moulton from Wilmington, North Carolina, in the Medac store WF1 Suzuki. It's an Ostendo 1 Suzuki for Richard Colburn, starting 12th from Northbrook, Illinois. Charlie DePasquale and Frank Clark will make up the final row of this grid. Charlie from Dayton, Ohio, Frank, a Virginian from Culpeper, driving a store and Van Diemen, respectively.
And you can see the variety of the cars as they roll out. Even the cars that are still the stores, they all have a little bit different things on them. There are aero cars, there's some adjustments. If you look at the back of when we see it, you'll see Lucien Pansea, he's on the inside of row 3. He's got the one with the black with the green markings. He's also got that shark fin coming off of the upper air intake, so his car's a little bit different, but that's what you get when you get prototype cars. They can all try some different things to make these cars work and cut through the air.
It's a 3.27-mile lap around the VIR full course, and it's got a little bit of everything. Some straightaways, some high-speed corners, some low-speed corners, technical but also rewarding, high power and low drag. It's a great mix and a great challenge.
And Sector 1, as you can see them coming out of Turn 1 into 2. Sector 1's got a lot more technical, a lot twistier. As they then start, they'll come down 2, they go through the NASCAR bend, as you see here, and then they'll enter the snake, the lower S's. From that point, they run through the upper S's and take a gradual hill climb all the way to the top, and these cars are going to be using every bit of downforce. But when they get to they go through the south bend, they get to the far end where the oak tree used to be. That's when they start the drag race down the back straight, and when they get to the end of the back straight, you hit the very abrupt downhill called roller coaster. We've already, in the outlap, we've already got a car off, and that should be Peter Shadowin, who ran a GT Light just a couple of days ago on the outlap. He'll be probably queuing up at the back of the field to start.
Well, that's disappointing for Peter, who qualified that car in the 9th starting position, and it goes to show, especially with these lightweight cars that have a lot of power relative to their weight on a day like today, more early morning still, temperatures are quite low. Grip is going to be at a premium when we go to green.
It will be, and that's what he showed. He probably just came through there, was maybe trying to warm the tires up, and that little bit of power in those Suzuki high-strung bike motors might be a little bit peaky, maybe cause a little bit of spin out. But luckily, it gets it back underway, and probably breathing a little sigh of relief that he's still in this field.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Just ask Roberto Guerrero at the 1992 Indy 500, probably the most infamous instance of this. He was unable to continue, so better news here for Peter Shadowin, but he will have to take a start from the back of the field rather than his qualifying position, which makes for a bit of a longer day for him. Again, 15 laps or 40 minutes, the race distance here as we look to crown a P2 champion. This field features 4 former champions. Trey Ayers, who won a championship in SRF3. Tim Day Jr., the defending champion in this class. Michael Rupert, who won a DSR class championship at one point in his history. And Peter Shadowin, who has multiple championships, including in GTL yesterday. 2 Runoffs rookies in the field, Frank Clark and Michael Moulton. And the most experienced driver in the field, one of the most, if not the most, at the Runoffs. How about Richard Colburn, who has made 44 Runoff starts?
He was on a podium one time. This is the 25th anniversary of his podium back in '94 at Mid-Ohio. Still running that car. Great to see him out there. He'll be in one of the yellow Nestendo Suzuki-powered cars. Also to note here as we get this start going, is I'm told Iverson was the last car to get to grid, and his tires were relatively warm when he got there. That's going to help on this cool, crisp morning, and it was confirmed that is the car Jeff Schaefer drove last year and finished second in. I believe he was not on the pole, but the front row. Great race out of him. He's actually here today. He was with Iverson on that grid. So maybe giving us some last-minute tips here at the start of this race and helping him in the less experienced driver, but he's got warm tires and he's got great coaching.
It is the 56th edition of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, the 75th year of the Sports Car Club of America. That the Camaro pace car has the commemorative livery to celebrate those 75 years, but it makes that right-handed turn down to pit lane. The field 2 by 2. Down the front straightaway, the number 4 of Iverson. That's the Ligier chassis. The Van Diemen alongside. 4 and 77 the front row. And the green flag flies. The P2 championship race is underway. Headed down into the carousel. Turn number 1 at VIR. Side by side for first. It's 3 wide deeper into the field. We'll see if this field can sort itself out. One car dropping a wheel to the inside, and now 3 off track further back. Among those involved appears to be the 49 of Newlebold, and a couple of others as well, but up front it is clean and green.
It is, and you saw there that Ayers tried to make a move on the outside. That's a tough place to go, especially maybe cold tires. And this morning we mentioned that Iverson probably has the warmer tires, able to hold him off, but they're going to be pressuring those experienced drivers of Ayers and Day. Should be in this mix, and right on the back Iverson by the time we get cross start finish for lap 2.
Hopefully everyone involved was able to continue. As we talked about on the Open, so much work goes into this, and that's unfortunate.
Yates.
So that's Yates, actually, the 144 that appears to be stranded.
That's a precarious position, and we're going to go full course yellow here. Unfortunately, that is right at the exit, right at the back of turn 1, and as we've seen, if a couple of cars can get in there, we have got to slow this field down, so that'll tighten things up. Might take that advantage of Iverson's warm tires a bit away as we line back up.
Brian Yates from Clemens, North Carolina, unfortunately stranded there on the opening corner of this race. Take a look at the replay of the start. It was wild for sure, especially deep in the field. A couple of cars locking up their tires. What do you see?
Well, you know, there's a lot of movement back and forth up there as everyone's fighting for a position. And you see contact right there in the middle of the field there with Yates. Just got caught up, and I didn't quite catch who the car on either side of him was, but you just saw them as they're jockeying for position. It's hard to look at both sides of the car at the same time. You know, obviously everyone's got mirrors, but it's hard to look out of them when you've got your low slung down, you got some high body work around, visibility is tough, and just some contact. Unfortunate for Yates, he actually came in as the track record holder here from a couple years back, ran a 52.8 at this track. As things warm up, that record's probably going to fall, but he does come in with that record as they're going to get him towed out. This might be a very, very quick yellow flag.
Let's hope so. Unfortunately, it did look like the bodywork suffered some damage in that contact. You saw it pop up, and you wonder about the suspension on the right front as well.
In fact, there's a piece out. You can see it just there at the track's edge as well. Up at that point, they didn't quite grab that, but yeah, they're going to have him out of the way momentarily in this 3.27-mile track. A lot of time for that safety car, Miata. They're going to probably have to go one more lap. You can see the safety car there. Going to have it under control here. Should be a pretty quick, and then we'll be back underway with what about 13 laps to go.
Well, definitely disappointment for Yates. It appears that Newlebold and Kaufman were the other two involved as they've dropped back a couple of spots there. Up front, Iverson leads from Ayers. Guyan with a nice start to get up to 3rd. Day has dropped to 4th from the start. Remember, he started up in the 3rd position, so Guyan was able to leapfrog him. And Lucian Pansea running in the 5th position as they came around to complete the opening lap.
You see if there's any damage there on the Newlebold car. So he was involved in that as well. Looks okay from that shot.
That was some pretty stout side-to-side contact. I don't think that Yates on the outside realized, and how could he, that there were 2 cars to his inside. There really wasn't room for 2 cars, and I think that might have been the root of the problem.
Yeah, it's a wide track, but it's probably not 4 cars wide going into one on cold tires first lap. Those are the other 2 cars that were involved in that. Like you mentioned, that was the I believe that was the 07 of Kaufman,
yes,
and the 49 at Naris Newlebold. They
so
look like they're okay.
For Kaufman, a Virginian, that's a disappointing start. But again, the good news for at least Kaufman and Newlebold, yes, you're involved. Yes, you drop back some spots there. But the cars appear to be running. They appear to be in decent order. And if we go back to green, plenty of time to try and make up some of those positions.
And for them, they'll probably go the first, especially for As we mentioned before, Nulabal, you know, he was actually qualified up in the 8th spot. Now he's got a car. He's not sure how much damage that there is, you know, how loose the bodywork is. His aero okay. He'll probably take the first couple laps a little bit soft before he tries to move back up in the field.
How about this too? Remember, Shadowin had that spin on the formation lap, and he was able to work his way back up to 9th. Helps when a couple of cars go off in front of you, but still had to get some passes done on his own.
That's veteran smart driving, though, avoiding that incident that was in front of him, going in through 1 and to make a couple of passes before the yellow came out. Again, he's 11 starts prior to this season. As you mentioned, he's got now a couple of GTL championships to his name. Here, jumping into the P2 category, he's certainly a racer with experience that he knows how to position himself.
So was set to start 9th, ended up 9th after the end of the first lap anyway.
No foul from his point of view.
Yeah, and with the yellow flag to neutralize things, it's basically starting back where he would have anyway. So he'll take that.
So as we go now into a green flag, is in a moment here going across start finish, I'm expecting as the lights are out. Yes, Iverson now is going to have Day and Ayers just filling his mirrors going into 1. Probably Ayers with a better power in the Mazda might have. It all depends on who gets a jump, but watch that Mazda powered Ayers as they go into 1, if he can get the inside position.
Iverson in the Ligier with the Honda power plant, the Mazda-powered Van Diemen of Ayers running behind. Then it's Guyan in 3rd, Tim Day Jr. running 4th. Those are the 4 cars in that shot. Here we come to take the green flag. Back racing in the P2 championship race. Iverson leaves the inside open. Here comes Ayers. He's going to try and sneak up the inside, and it's 3 wide back in the pack for 3rd.
Yeah, he closed that door pretty quick coming in, though, did Iverson. Ayers had a look there, but wasn't able to make that stick. Kind of ran out of real estate. Behind them, Day got a great jump initially, but then you can see Lucen Pansea ended up the winner in all 3 of those, now up to 3rd.
He got a great tow. Remember, when we were looking at that shot initially, it was just the 4 cars on our screen, and Pansea came flying up, able to make up a couple of spots. He's running in the final podium position. Is there something hanging off of the back of that car?
There is, yeah, a piece of bodywork there. So I don't know if at some point he made contact or maybe just kind of came loose here just in these opening laps. But he's now right on the back of Trey Ayers, and he's going to try and not let Ayers get out. Lucien looks very racy here this morning, and now that battle of, I believe that's Guyan and Day behind them in the 2 Suzuki-powered stores.
Takes a peek there, thinks better of it, falls back in line, coming through Oak Tree, but Pansea putting the pressure on Ayers. Pansea has a career-best runoffs finish of 2nd. That came at Road America in the F1000 class. Now putting those skills to use here in P2.
Been running pretty well here in P2 last couple of years. He was on the let's see, he's got 2 podiums away in the past, but he was 5th last year in this class. He was 6th in Indy the year before, so he's really getting comfortable there with his Pansea.
Pulls out of line, couldn't make the move stick. Now through the roller coaster here. For the first time under green in this race, had that opening lap incident that took out the number 144 of Yates, unfortunately. That's a nice close look at the damage.
Looks like the lower piece from the rear wing, the rear body element that normally would be kind of hanging up quite a bit higher, and it's kind of swung down. I think the right side, you can almost see is still there. Shouldn't really hurt him too much.
Day, right in his slipstream, he's going to go late on the brakes and is able to sneak past there into turn number 1. That was a nice move. He came from quite a ways back and was able to slip past Pansea and take over that 3rd spot once again.
Yeah, the defending champ has definitely got the experience here. He was actually on the pole also in Sonoma last year. You know, again, these guys are all so close. As you mentioned at the top, it was about 8/10 covered the top 5, and you can see that they're all kind of running the same way. And maybe making a little ground as he catches some dirt there coming in the snake, but they are definitely keeping Iverson within stretch here. I think they've closed up a couple of car lengths.
Ayers really caught a lot of that curve just a moment ago. You saw how it shot that car up into the air and off to the side. We'll see if it causes him to lose some momentum. Pansea, who just lost the 3rd spot, now running in 4th, and he's coming under pressure from Guyan in the number 83.
Guyan wants to go in as they go into Oak Tree here.
Here's a battle for
Tim
2nd. And Day able to slip past Pansea, makes the pass in Oak Tree, and the defending champ is on the move. 2 positions on this lap alone.
Great shot. Look how much bigger that Van Diemen that Ayers is driving. Look how much bigger a car that is than the one that Tim Day is driving, the Store. But he's got the legs. That Mazda's got a lot more top end than the Suzuki's going to have, and that's why he's able to pull him down these straights.
That's letting Iverson leg out a bit of a gap here.
But the late braking of the lighter car that Day's got the position on this as well. Great job by Ayers to not lose any more than just the one. That's great racing. Again, that shows the strengths and weaknesses of the 2 cars. You saw Day get the better late braking going into Oak Tree in the lighter car. Ayers, though, pulling down the straight, and then Day at the end of the straight. So this is going to be a great battle as they make speed very differently.
A really fascinating fight at the front of this grid. The top 5 right here, all within striking distance. Iverson has not been able to pull away despite all the battling going on behind him, as Day now moves up into the 2nd position, 0.3 of a second off of Iverson as they came across the line that time. This right here is the fight for 4th, a little bit further back. Pansea is still trying to hold off Guyan.
Guyan is very racy right now. And look at the back of the wing there on Pansea, the right side. Kind of moving around a little bit, but you watch, they come up the S's. Day is going to be all under the back of that Ligier of Iverson. That nice little thin, low Store car. He's lighter. He should be quicker through this section, and if he can get a draft, he can stay up there.
It's really fascinating. These different cars, different power plants, turning basically the same lap times.
But he did not get a good run off of there, as he's now got Ayers all in his mirrors.
Let's see what Ayers can do as we drop a little bit further back. Good-looking scrap heating up here.
That's Moulton, the number 71 there, chasing down that big blue car.
That's Shadowin. Yes, it is. So a nice recovery. Shadowin must have just made the pass of Moulton at the first half of this lap or so. So that moves Shadowin back up into 7th. Actually, that's the highest he's run today. Started 9th, or was supposed to. Had the spin on the formation lap. Had to start at the back. Made up all those spots on the opening lap before we went yellow. And now has made his way up into 7th and is trying to track down Rupert, who is some 6 seconds up the road.
And Rupert here, both in the Suzuki power plant, Shadowin and Rupert. Rupert, though, is in the lower slung Store chassis, where Shadowin's got that much bigger, taller. You can see the West. Great shot there, how much taller that chassis is.
Back to the front, yes.
Oh, and it's not Day anymore at this point. It's
Ayers has made the pass. He's going to look for the lead here. Able to make that pass on the back straightaway was Ayers, and now he slides to the inside. Pressured, pushed down to the inside a bit there by Iverson, but he's able to hold this spot. It's sneaking into the picture. Here comes Day, the defending champion, a 3-way fight for the lead.
So he tried that move on the restart, wasn't able to get far enough to hold the position. This time just got the nose in front to keep Iverson to the left of him, but as they both kind of went slow through there, that's when Day came right through. And if Day can get a good run here, this, again, should be able to, unless he's got a horsepower disadvantage through the S's, but they're all going to be tight, as we mentioned. They all qualified together. These 5 are not going to shake any of them. This is just going to be a battle royale right up to the end.
Well, a new leader here for the first time on lap number 6 of the P2 championship race. Getting word, we're talking about the differences between these chassis. The weight difference, the Ligier checks in at around 1,500 pounds. The Van Diemen, 1,325, and the Store a further 200 pounds less at 1,125 as we have a spin. That's Guyan in the 83, who was running right there with the leaders.
Right at the Oak Tree, and I didn't quite see it. I wonder if maybe he was sort of in the lower, the further back of those 5. If you start get brake checked, or if you kind of miss your braking point, you go deep. So now we're down to a 4-dog fight at the front.
The good news for Guyan is he had built up about 13 seconds over the 6th place car of Rupert. Let's take a look and see what happened here. If you can, Larry, point out what you notice.
Yep, as he's just on the way in, he just tapped the brake, maybe a little bit, the brake bias to the rear just sort of locked up a little bit.
Pansea also looked like he had his hands full, and he dropped the left rear wheel, but he was able to keep it under control. Up here in the fight for 2nd, this is Iverson in the 4, trying to keep Day behind him in the 8.
They got to be careful to not let Ayers run away here. The only odd thing here about Ayers, especially, not only is he driving that Mazda, he's the only one in the field on the Pirelli tires. Honestly, I'm not sure how the Pirellis normally stack up. We've seen the Goodyear-Hoosier battle in some other classes, but on those Pirellis, if they are just now coming into their own, he could start to walk here. So it's really important for Ayers Day to maybe do a little working together so that they don't lose him.
The last 2 laps through NASCAR, Ayers has really used all of that runoff on the outside of the curb. He seems to be the only one of these leaders that feels comfortable doing that. You have to wonder about reliability as we go throughout this race. That puts a lot of stress on these highly strung chassis.
After a while, you start shaking carbon fiber in a prototype car across curbs, and they start to get little cracks here and there. They start to come loose, and then you lose all that aero. So in this type of corner you see here, this south bend, it's a very fast left-hander that the bottom drops out of. Very important to have strong aero there. So as the race goes on and you start banging around that front splitter or the aero underneath the car, and all of a sudden you lose that grip, you'll find yourself off track right in all that grass, that dirt.
Lucian Pansera looks like he's had a little trouble keeping pace with the top 3. Had the great start, was running up towards the front, and now dropping off a little bit. Same could be said for Day here in the 8. Doesn't seem to have the same kind of pace that we're seeing from our 2 leaders the last couple of laps. Ayers had the fastest lap of the race a moment ago with a 1:51.348.
Yeah, the Suzuki just doesn't have the top end power that the Honda and the Mazda have, but it looks like Iverson is able to kind of maintain here. Ayers is a little quicker coming down through the roller coaster, but Iverson definitely has got the wheels to keep up with him. He got a little closer down the back straight. He's not going to let Ayers run away with this.
8 laps to go, and you're exactly right. Iverson showing the nose of that Ligier chassis just to the inside there in the braking zone.
Half a second faster on that last lap. He just again reset fastest record here. The previous record was the 8s at a 52.8. Iverson last time through a 50.4, a full 0.6 quicker than Ayers, so he was able to gain the ground. Oh, and by the way, their top speed down the back straight, just shy of 150 miles an hour.
Unbelievable.
This is not just all aero in the corners. These guys have got the top end as well.
And Iverson's trap speed is significantly higher than anybody else. We've talked about how good he is in a straight line. That's 4 miles an hour quicker than what we saw from Ayers the last time through.
8 miles an hour faster than Day. So we talk about that Suzuki bike motor just does not have that top end. That's why he needs to stay close and use the draft where he can. These are the kind of corners he can close. You can see he's done that under braking, but he cannot lose him. He's got to get a strong exit. He's so fast in that corner. Just see how much, you can see him gain 3 car lengths through Oak Tree.
Well, it's a 3-way scrap at the front of the field with 8 laps to go. The P2 championship very much in the balance at VIR.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was brought to you by Haggerty, for people who love cars.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.
While we were away, the complexion of the race has changed dramatically. That is the number 4, the pole-sitting car of Robert Iverson, and he is stranded right there in Oak Tree.
but he's in a precarious position as we watch that replay.
Here he comes into Oak Tree being challenged, and that explains it. There was definitely some contact there.
I think Day saw a gap that he thought he could get in through. Unfortunately, the gap just wasn't there as Iverson had the line and came in. Day, unfortunately, as we mentioned before, Day's great under late braking, but when the line's not there, it's just not there.
And Day under assault right now from Lucian Pansea. Pansea's car still showing some scars from some of the early race altercations. Gotta wonder, too, a little bit about Day's car after that contact.
Trying to get a look at that left front. He looks okay, but maybe down that front straight, maybe you're coming off a hog pen. He was just a little bit thinking about it. I don't see much damage, though. He looks all right. As Iverson, I think, has gotten rolling again.
Looked like he did get moving. He's dropped down to 6th on the timing screen, but has not come around to complete the lap just yet. So as soon as we know where he's running, we'll let you know. This is the fight for second as it stands, with Day racing with Pansea.
So a little word on errors. I mentioned earlier he's on those Pirelli tires that no one else is running on. Actually, it's the medium compound Pirellis, which are decent for durability. The word is that when they go hard, and then they just fall off. So we'll see if in a 15-lap race, if they stay around just long enough.
Well, Day holding that second spot right now from Pansea. We were keeping an eye on the trap speeds while we were in break, and that car in particular just doesn't have the legs, as you've been talking about, down these straightaways. That might give Pansea the chance, but you do have to wonder, with some of the damage to the back of that car, does that add a little bit of extra drag? Does that hurt the top end speed for that car?
I think for Pansea it does. You look at that end wing plane element there on that right side, it's just bouncing around. It's all over the place. And that's and then the other piece there along the lower left, all that just creates drag on what's already a horsepower limited car.
So this is Iverson. He is back up and running, and right in the same spot where he had the problem the last time around. He's able to make a pass there.
He's past Moulton there.
Yeah, that moves him back to 8th. So going from battling for the lead to now just trying to find a way back into the top 5. Doesn't have a lot of time to do it. Less than 5 laps to go, and he's about 4 seconds behind the next car in line, maybe a little bit more than that, as he tries to get up to Kaufman. And then Shadowin's a further 3 seconds up ahead. Rupert's kind of running by himself in the 5th spot, with Guyan, who had the spin earlier, by himself in 4th. So the best fight on the track right now is between Pansea and Day for second. Ayers has nearly 3 seconds in hand over Day at the moment. Had to feel for this guy, though. Great lap in qualifying for Iverson in this Ligier car. Led the bulk of the early portions of this race, and really no fault of his own, he ends up demoted back into the field.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Again, not his fault. Able to keep going again. Great move there to get past Moulton in the last time into Oak Tree, which is the same place where he just got bumped, and you start to get in your own mind of, should I make this pass? That was just tried on me, but he's able to make that stick. But up at the front, it's Greg Guyan, actually, probably is the fastest car on the track right now. He's all by himself. He's 10, 12 seconds back behind the Day and Pansea battle, and he's 20 seconds ahead of Rupert, but he is flying around here right now.
He is turning in some really fast laps. Unfortunately, he's got 13 seconds or so to make up if he's going to chase down Pansea, running in that 3rd spot, and with only 4.5 laps to go. It's a tall task, to say the least. The math doesn't quite add up at that pace, at least. This is Greg Guyan here in the number 83 car. Had a chance to talk to him earlier in the week. He's owned this car for 5 or 6 years, he said, and wanted to learn this track, so he came out here in April, and we all know that that was a rain-affected event. And
he learned
really,
how rain tires work on his car.
And not much else. So I think when the forecast was at least calling for the chance of some rain today, and we weren't sure when it might come, he was one of the ones that would have been pleased with that development.
And apparently, whatever the development did, rain or shine, he has just reset fastest lap of this race at a 50.2. He now owns the first and 3rd sectors. That second sector's got a lot of top end. Probably not going to do that if he doesn't have a drafting partner, but he's in the low 50s, a 50.2 right now. Unfortunately, in front of him, though, is you've got Day and Pansea running in mid-50s. They're just not leaving any chance for the Giants to have any opportunity to move up to that podium.
Yeah, they're setting personal bests lap after lap.
But they're catching this guy.
Exactly what I was about to say. Ayers has lost a couple of seconds each of the last few laps. He was only he lost 9/10 of a second today.
See it
the
in
last
the shot.
time, and
Day is now right there. They'll be coming down the roller coaster in a minute.
that makes all the difference in the world if you're the chasing driver. You can see the car you're chasing, and you can see visually you're closing in.
It means everything. Suddenly you just get a little bit more hungry when you can see your prey out in front of you. And now he knows he's faster down the roller coaster in the lighter car. A little off the apex there as he turns into it, but he is just hungry. He wants to get up there. Now he's confident that the car is undamaged from the incident back there with Iverson, and he is on the move.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, this is the potential battle for the lead, but there is something that's going to be adjudicated most likely after the race, and it's because of this contact. At the time, this was the fight for second with Day and trying to find a way past Iverson, and it didn't end well for Iverson, to say the least. Day was able to continue on, no worse for the wear, and not quite sure how the stewards are going to see that one, but all that Day can do at this point is forget about it.
Right. That's
Do his job and
drive the rest of this race clean and let the stewards do what they have to do. At this point, he's not the single quickest, but he's right there, quickest on the track, as he's now only a second and a half behind Ayers as they're going up here through the S's. And behind him, working through some of that traffic now, is Pensea.
he really got
losing
caught
sight.
out
He's
by
losing
the
sight
traffic.
today.
Yes, and not a whole lot that can be done. I think that's Clark that they're making their way by. Is that
Frank
right?
Clark there, I think, in that Marlboro colored, the white and red Van Diemen.
And that's one of those parts of this track that you really can't go side by side, and you can't just disappear. You can't hide if you're being lapped as much as you'd like to get out of the way. And it stinks for Panzer, who had a really nice race going, but ultimately just caught traffic at the wrong time. And now look at the difference here between second and third. Day, a second and a half though behind Ayers. This is going to be the fight here in the final 3 laps. He's catching him by a half a second a lap. 3 laps to go, a second and a half back. The math adds up, he'll be there, but does he have enough time to make the move? It'll be fascinating to watch this develop here as they come around the line. Oh, and that will not help that bid. Sliding off track goes Day.
I was just saying, Ayers had responded, was doing personal best right up there until Day. That hog pen bend is the single hardest corner on this track. It goes off camber right in the middle of it, and it's also critical to get a run. Day went risk-reward, and risk ends up buttoning.
Pensea elevated up to second. Let's look again at what happened. Came in with a ton of speed.
He actually just missed the turn and missed the apex. You can see he didn't catch any curb on the way in, but if you do and you miss that mark, all it takes is 6 inches of grass, and suddenly you are loaded with grass.
And that is a bumpy ride through the grass here at VIR. That did not look comfortable. These cars very happy on the smooth surface of the racetrack, not so much through the grass. Looks like Day dropped back to the 4th spot after that. As Ayers continues to work his way through the traffic, he's leading now by 5.7 seconds with just a couple of laps to go. Trey Ayers, 8 previous runoff starts. He did win the Spec Racer Ford class in 2017 at Indy.
Legendary win there. 72 Spec Racer Ford Gen 3s lined up in that race, and it's a drafting crazy race, and he was able to come out on top. Today, not a drafting race, but he's got himself in a strong position. And Lucien Pensea, despite all the broken carburetor on that car, we talked about how important that is, he's just going to keep putting his head down and going. Behind him is Greg Guyan, who's again been continuing to go fast lap. Now he's got a whole day behind him. But Guyan looking very strong right now also for a podium with about a lap and a half to go.
So for Pansera, a second place, should this result hold, that would match his career best at the runoffs. That came at Road America in 2013 in the F1000 class. And here is Guyan, currently running third, has had a nice solid day when misfortune has found some of his competitors. He's been able to capitalize and just put together a clean race.
Very fast again. Here's the right line here. I say that just as the car goes a little wiggly in the middle of it, but he got the turn in, and then the car must have just caught a little bit of the inside of that pavement change as it goes from the flatter pavement to a little bit of a seam there, but try not to make a fool out of me.
And for Guyan as well, with 1 lap to go, this would match a career best. He has a couple of third place finishes in previous runoffs appearances. He's got 3 seconds in hand over Day and plenty of pace to keep him behind as we go back to our leader. Coming through the S's once again, Trey Ayers has been dominant since taking the lead. Had a nice battle with Iverson to try and get to that spot. Iverson, by the way, has recovered to get up to 6th, making his way past Kaufman. But this has been a solid effort from Ayers, who picked his opportunities, got to the lead, and hasn't looked back.
He's just been a machine. Once he was able to kind of let the things get into that position, because the first 5 laps of this race was a crazy swapping spots. Once he got out in the front, he let the fight behind him take each other out, and he just put his head down and went.
Trey Ayers looking for a 2nd Runoffs championship. He's from Gainesville, Georgia. Ayers Racing and Mazda supporting him. It's a Van Diemen with Mazda Power.
A successful season all around. Real quick on him, Hoosier Super Tour, 10 starts, 7 wins, 6 poles. He was on the podium in all 10 of those starts. He has been the class of the field. He has been consistent all year. Great season for him.
And just his first season racing in the P2 category. So he has picked this up very quickly, shown a great deal of pace, has had success on the Super Tour, and now the ultimate success at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Trey Ayers clapping his hands in celebration. He knows what this means. Fist in the air, twin checkers out. Trey Ayers is your national champion in P2 in 2019. Lucian Pansea comes across the line to finish in 2nd, matching a career best for him. And here is Guyan. Also matches a career best. His third place finish at the Runoffs. Does it in P2 at VIR.
Yeah, that's going to be a really happy podium. I feel bad for Iverson with that incident there. He's able to maintain and get himself back up. Looks like it's going to be a 6th place finish for him, but certainly being pole sitter, that's not where he started out and wanted to be.
Now Trey Ayers showing the benefits of experience. 8 previous appearances at the Runoffs, 8 previous starts, I should say, at the Runoffs, and able to navigate through a challenging start. You mentioned it was a really fascinating battle in the first few laps. 5 cars all within about a half a second of one another, swapping spots, working the draft. These cars are not identical, and so having to judge the relative strengths and weaknesses of one another, and he comes out on top.
He does, and just kind of stayed in that mix. Just kept going and going. The tires seemed to be fine. He managed the car very well. Let the other guys, I think, made a great pass going into 1. Right after the restart, he tried to make it on Iverson. Didn't. Next time by, got just enough car to get in there, and that seemed to be the moment that changed his race for him.
Looking at the rest of the running order, Day came home in 4th. Rupert did take 5th. Iverson charged. He got within about a second of Rupert, but will have to settle for 6th. Kaufman shadowing. Nice recovery from him after the spin on the formation lap. Moulton and Colburn.
His 45th runoff start. 45th runoff start for Colburn. The veteran out here, I'm told, I think it's 39 consecutive runoffs that he's started. Brings home a top 10 P2. That's a very happy veteran here on the 25th anniversary of his last podium back in the old days at D Sports Racer.
And it's his 26th career top 10. You're right, this is 39 consecutive runoffs appearances. Love to see that kind of dedication, and it takes a special event to engender that kind of dedication. It speaks volumes. This is something that every club racer and everyone who aspires to be a club racer wants to be a part of.
Yeah, a lifetime club racer. Again, it's a club, it's a family, and one of those families that's going to be real happy today is going to be the Ayers family here coming in the front, the top step of the podium for Trey.
Trey Ayers in victory lane. He'll have the gold medal around his neck in just a matter of moments. Tom O'Gorman is down pit side, and as soon as the helmet is off, Tom will speak to our champion. Gold medal coming in. Tom, what does our champion have to say?
Yeah, Ryan, down here shaking hands, lots of celebrations. You can tell this one means a lot. We'll get the gold medal around the neck. Trey, we've talked to you here in years past in other classes, but first one in P2. That one was a race that had a lot of different phases. Tell us about it.
Oh, it was rough at first. As I said in the beginning, I set it up for the long haul, and it was rough at first. But we made it work at first and stayed in the hunt, and then put a little pressure on some folks, and got in the lead, and I just put my head down and drove from there.
Yeah, got a nice gap at the end there, but there was a lot of action early on. The car looked like it was just most stable, able to attack. Any help with that?
At first, it was really pushy, and if you overdrove it, it was really loose until things warmed up. Maybe we didn't make the right choice, but we're sitting here, so we must have made the right choice.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
A big congratulations from us as well to Trey Ayers, who clinches his first championship in this class in his first year in this class.
It's
pretty
jump.
impressive.
Big jump coming out of the old days running Spec 4s. These have got a little bit more power.
Trey Ayers over Lucian Pansea by 3.8 seconds. Greg Guyan finishes third, the final step of the podium. Tim Day Jr. and Mike Rupert fourth and fifth. Robert Iverson will have to settle for sixth after starting on pole. Contact dropped him further back, so a decent recovery to get there at least. Thomas Kaufman seventh, Peter Shadowin eighth, Michael Moulton in ninth, and Richard Colburn, as mentioned, in 10th. Down now to Tom O'Gorman to hear from second and third.
With Lucian Pansea finished second place in P2. We talked to Trey about how that race kind of had a number of phases through it. Lots of action early on, but you kept your nose clean, and here you are.
That was the plan to begin with, keep it clean, put pressure, starting fifth place. It's not the greatest place to start, but I knew if I, put my foot down and keep a clear head, I can do good.
Absolutely, you did good. Absolutely.
I'd like to thank you, my crew, Young Racing. Hello to my girls at home, and yeah, it was an awesome race. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations on the silver. We'll walk back to Greg Guyan here. Greg, a little slip up early on, but you got your chance to rally. Really fast laps at the end there. Yeah. Congratulations on that.
I thought I could run fast lap times. I wish I could have gone even. I think I could have gone even faster, but just wasn't quite my day. I mean, I'm happy with the third, but I got a great start and jumped ahead, and then had a terrible restart and lost it right back. So, but I'm on the podium. So, it's a good day.
On the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes, congratulations indeed to all of our medalists. We see Ayers now taking that coveted victory lap with the checkered flag in hand. He'll be savoring this one for a while.
Yes, he will. He is that first one in the 72-car Spec Ford field that he had at Indy. Feels good, but jumping into this P2 this year and rising right to the top of the gold medal. What a year for him.
Here's a look at the start. It was the four of Iverson starting on pole. Ayers battling him through the first couple of corners, and then the contact that brought out the only full course yellow of the race.
Yeah, those workers did a great job of cleaning that up. Let us go green very fast, and this is what we had was Ayers early on. He was talking about how loose and tough the car was on cold tires. Once it warmed up, he was able to make his move to the front right here on the inside into one. And what a move it was. Changed the race, and he was able to just walk away from there.
Took the lead for the first time on lap number 6 and did not look back. Tim Day Jr. always in the mix. That's him making a pass right there on Ayers.
He was a busy guy, and he had a lot of hand in the outcome of this race as well. And this was the reason. Unfortunately, he saw the move here, thought he could make it, got late in the brakes. And for Iverson, unfortunately, bumped him back and wasn't able to finish higher than 6th.
Knocked him out of podium position. Here is Day. He had his own wild ride a few moments later.
That is a crazy ride. That hog pen is a hard corner, but this guy nailed every corner.
Trey Ayers, already a champion in Spec Racer Ford, adds a championship in P2. Congratulations now to a two-time national champion. Trey Ayers able to get the job done. Coming home in second, Lucian Pansea, and Greg Guyan completing the podium with a third-place run in the SCCA Runoffs and VIR. A tremendous race in P2 and a deserving national champion. Look at the celebration there from Trey Ayers as he crossed the start-finish line under the checkered flags. That's it for us here from this P2 race. Our coverage presented by Mazda. Congratulations to Ayers, the rest of the podium as well from the 56th running of the SCCA Runoffs at VIR.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires.
We have so many tires.
And help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.